Today our topic is what makes a good life. Wisdom from philosophers. Life is a journey, and everyone wants to live a good life. But what does that mean? Is it about having money, fame, or success? Or is it about something deeper, like happiness, peace, and meaning? Philosophers have thought about this question for thousands of years, and their wisdom can help us understand what truly makes a good life. Let's explore their ideas and see how we can apply them to our own lives. First, let's talk about happiness. Many people think that happiness comes from external things, like money, cars, or big houses. But philosophers like Socrates and Aristotle believe that true happiness comes from within. Socrates said that the unexamined life is not worth living. He meant that if we don't think about who we are and what we value, we will never find true happiness. Aristotle believed in something called eudaimonia, which means flourishing or living well. He said that a good life is about developing our virtues, like kindness, courage, and wisdom, and using them to live in harmony with others. So, according to these philosophers, happiness is not about what we have, but about who we are and how we live. Now let's talk about Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us how to deal with challenges and find peace in a chaotic world. The Stoics, like Epicurus and Marcus Aurelius, believed that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react. Epicurus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that even if life is hard, we can choose to stay calm and focused. Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor, wrote in his book Meditations that we should accept things we can't change and focus on what we can control. For example, if it rains on the day of a picnic, we can't stop the rain, but we can choose to enjoy the day in another way. Stoicism teaches us to be resilient and to find inner peace no matter what happens. Another important idea is about relationships. Many philosophers believe that a good life is not just about the individual, but also about how we connect with others. Confucius, a Chinese philosopher, taught that relationships are the foundation of a good life. He said that we should treat others with respect, kindness, and care. According to Confucius, when we build strong relationships with family, friends, and community, we create a sense of belonging and purpose. Similarly, the Greek philosopher Epicurus believed that friendship is one of the most important sources of happiness. He said that having close friends who support and understand us makes life meaningful. So if you want to live a good life, focus on building and nurturing your relationships. Now let's talk about meaning. Viktor Frankl, a philosopher and psychiatrist, wrote a famous book called Man's Search for Meaning. In this book, he shared his experiences as a prisoner in a concentration camp during World War II. Despite the terrible conditions, Frankl discovered that people who found meaning in their suffering were more likely to survive. He believed that life is not just about seeking pleasure or avoiding pain, but about finding purpose. Frankl said that we can find meaning in three ways: by creating something, by experiencing something or someone, and by the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. For example, even if we can't change a difficult situation, we can choose to face it with courage and dignity. Finding meaning helps us to endure hardships and to live a life that feels worthwhile. Next, let's talk about simplicity. Many philosophers believe that a good life is a simple life. The Greek philosopher Diogenes lived in a barrel and owned almost nothing. He believed that material possessions distract us from what truly matters. Similarly, the Roman philosopher Seneca said that wealth and luxury do not bring happiness. Instead, they often create stress and dissatisfaction. Seneca advised people to live simply and to focus on what is essential. In modern times, this idea is reflected in the minimalist movement, which encourages people to declutter their lives and focus on what brings them joy and purpose. So, if you want to live a good life, Consider simplifying your life and letting go of things that don't add value. Another important aspect of a good life is balance. The ancient Greeks believed in the concept of the golden mean, which means finding a balance between extremes. For example, courage is a virtue, but too much courage can lead to recklessness, and too little courage can lead to cowardice. Aristotle believed that the key to a good life is to find the right balance in everything we do. This applies to our work, relationships, and even our emotions. For example, working hard is important, but we also need time to rest and enjoy life. Similarly, it's good to care about others, but we also need to take care of ourselves. Finding balance helps us to live a healthy and fulfilling life. Now, let's talk about self-awareness. Many philosophers believe that self-awareness is the key to a good life. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, said, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom." This means that if we want to live a good life, we need to understand ourselves, our strengths, weaknesses, values, and desires. Self-awareness helps us to make better decisions and to live in alignment with our true selves. For example, if we know that we value kindness, we can make choices that reflect this value, such as helping others or being compassionate. Self-awareness also helps us to recognize when we are off track and to make changes that bring us closer to our goals. Finally, let's talk about gratitude. Many philosophers believed that gratitude is an essential part of a good life. The Roman philosopher Cicero said, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others." This means that when we are grateful, we are more likely to be kind, generous, and happy. Gratitude helps us to focus on what we have rather than what we lack. It shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance. For example, instead of complaining about what we don't have, we can appreciate the people, opportunities, and experiences that enrich our lives. Practicing gratitude can help us to feel more content and to live a more fulfilling life. In conclusion, a good life is not about having the most money, fame, or success. It's about living with purpose, balance, and gratitude. It's about building strong relationships, developing our virtues, and finding meaning in our experiences. Philosophers like Socrates, Aristotle, Epicurus, Confucius, and Viktor Frankl have given us timeless wisdom that can guide us on our journey. By applying their teachings to our lives, we can create a life that is not only good, but also meaningful and fulfilling. Remember, the key to a good life is not outside of you, it's within us. It's about how we think, how we act, and how we connect with others. So, take a moment to reflect on your life. What are your values? What brings you joy? What gives your life meaning? By answering these questions, you can start to create a life that is truly good.